Supervisor Colfax's opinion on that, because he's been on the committee. So I think we ought to eliminate the first one on our list, which is this EMS committee that's been of long standing since '03. I would suggest that we eliminate that. I think that we need more discussion on the, we need to keep on the next.
Madam,
yes?
Would you make that in the form of motion? We'll take them one
Well,
at a
can
time.
Why don't we see if we get a list together?
Yeah,
that we
I
can-
have two more maybe
Two
to
more,
suggest.
okay.
I'll just go down and I believe we need to keep personally the Wave Energy Committee. I think it's a specific task-oriented one. It may not be a short duration, but I think we need to consider that later. But to add
Just
to
stop
this.
you there. That's one that we directed the CEO to come back. His direction may be to put that into a standing committee.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think it's broader than the coastal counties issue that's a CSAC / League of Cities issue. I think we have some definite local concerns. But to continue where the CEO left off with respect to the Cow Mountain issue, I think we made certainly some progress. We dealt with some specific issues. I think that in another context, if we need to deal with issues there, I think there are still some that will continue. We can bring that back in another format. So I would suggest that we eliminate the committee on the issues on Cow Mountain, which is on page 2.
The Revenue Sharing Committee.
And the Revenue Sharing Committee, correct. Those would be the three that I would recommend at this point in time. Very quickly, we can eliminate and deal with the others in more detail as needed. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to refer to these ad hoc committees as 1 through 9, as they're listed on the 2 pages.
Okay.
So is that a motion to eliminate items 1, 5, and 8? Is that what I heard in the motion?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. Do we have a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion. Any discussion of the motion? Supervisor McGowan? Any discussion of the motion? Okay, with that, let's vote by the buttons.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, that brings 9 down to 6. Okay. And now we need a motion to the makeup of the...
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to ask of Supervisor Smith if she sees that the Committee on the Diversity Policy matter, does that need to continue, or if that comes back, could we then either form another ad hoc or refer it to the appropriate standing committee?
You know, I think, Supervisor, that we could do that. That was an issue that we made some progress on. I don't know that we really concluded the dialogue that I felt at the time needed to take place. But I think your suggestion is a good one, and I think that probably could be dealt with probably most appropriately in general government. So sure, I think that I would concur. I think we could do that.
Then you two can have a meeting and work that out and report it out.
Sure.
And drop it.
So that would be item number 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, item 3.
I think we could probably make the decision to drop it today.
Yes.
I don't think it,
Yes.
based on what has been said.
No,
I would also kind of ask if, with regard to number 2 and number 6, what is currently under review there, and have those committees been meeting actively? One of them was created 3 years ago. I know there are very definitely ongoing issues with the retiree health plan and the retirement system in general, and this board is going to have to be very involved with that. But are there specific items of business that the ad hoc committees are currently dealing with? Or again, is that something that when the issue comes back to us, we can then decide what's the appropriate approach at that time?
Supervisor Smith?
Well, I think that actually both of those committees have met. They certainly have not met in any regular fashion. They have met in an ad hoc fashion. So I would say for today anyway, what we could do, I believe, we could ask council to agree or disagree. I think that we could consolidate the retiree health issues and collapse them in, because in actuality, they really are part of the Mendocino County retirement system per se. So I don't know that we would need to have a second committee, and Supervisor Colfax and myself have been the two members of both of those committees. I think we could collapse that and have one ad hoc reconstituted today that deals with relationships between the retirement system and the County of Mendocino, if council thought that we could do that. I mean, that would be one way to condense and consolidate.
And a related question, given that there doesn't seem to be any real specific question before those committees currently, would there be a Brown Act issue with changing the membership of those committees?
As long as there are no existing issues, and it's my understanding there are no existing issues with either one of those committees at this point. I think they've all been resolved.
No, where we actually
with
have
the
a
health benefits.
Well, we actually have a meeting scheduled. I believe it's for next week on what would be most appropriately under the ad hoc between the county and the retirement system. And I think the idea is that we are going to continue to go forward with the dialogue. So I would say that, in a sense, there's general business. There's not anything that you can point to as a specific order of business, but there is a meeting that has been, I believe, already scheduled for that. So, but my sense about trying to create the consolidation and deal with Supervisor McCown's general overall concerns, which I share, which is the nature of ad hoc business and the formation of these committees, would be, what we could do today is collapse really the retiree health as an extension of and a component of the general discussion of the two, which would be item number 6, which is the other one relating to the retirement system. So that was what I was offering. I was trying to consolidate that.
Okay,
But-
well, what I suggest is that with respect to the retirement committee, is that we defer taking any action on that today. I wasn't aware of a meeting being scheduled next week, and then revisit it, because if in fact you've completed the business and you want to reconstitute the committee, then you could appoint new members. Otherwise, to appoint new members right now, you would have a Brown Act issue if there is existing business going on. So I would defer on that one today and revisit it after this meeting next week, and we'll figure out what the committee's actually doing.
Supervisor Colfax?
At first, I thought that was a great idea, but at the moment, I'm a little concerned. What if that meeting, that ad hoc committee meets and discovers we have even more issues? And then we find that, well, now we keep it going and so on. I would suggest something rather different, and that is we have the meeting scheduled. It's a general meeting. That we dissolve the ad hoc committee. I think this whole question of the retirement benefits, retirement system, health issues and so forth are not getting sufficient attention by the entire board. And I think here we need to give this a few hours up here of the entire board and not leave it to a couple of people who kind of have an interest in it. So I'm just trying to avoid jamming us by going to that next meeting and discover, guess what? We can't dissolve it, and we have the same 2020 on that particular ad hoc committee because of Brown Act issues that come up as a result of going to that next meeting.
Mm-hmm.
We essentially lock it in if we do go to that meeting and issues arise. That's what I'm trying to focus our attention on right now.
Then shouldn't what the ad hoc committee do is make that recommendation and make the recommendation to refer it to a standing committee if it's going to be ongoing?
That would be a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would prefer that, but again, I don't know how this will play out in terms of if standing